Hey, what's going on? I'm Jackie Montgomery, and thanks for watching another 1v1. And today we have the pleasure of sitting with Brad Evans. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Brad, you just got back from your time with the U.S. men's national team just yesterday, so you're going right into the full swing of things with the Sounders. What was that experience like with the men's national team?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Like I said before, whenever you get that email saying that you've been called into January camp or any camp for that matter, it's always something that I guess brightens your day in a way. But there was hard work to be done. It was a bunch of guys coming together who've never played before, working towards a game 3 weeks later. So it was difficult. It was, it was hot. Then it was cold, and there's a lot of elements that went into it with the travel and things like this. But leading up to that game against Canada, I thought that things went well. Canada kind of sitting in a little bit. We had to, kind of change our game plan, halfway into the game. But saying that, I think things were positive. And then going in, obviously, with the first team, that was my first time with the A team. So that was an experience in itself. Unfortunately, didn't get to play, but there's always other opportunities.
What is it like getting to train with or just interacting with those guys on a daily basis? Guys that, Dempsey and Bradley, just all those players who we see overseas and don't get to see as often over here.
Yeah, for me, it was the first time meeting most of those guys, even though maybe I'd played, some youth soccer or, in their early days of MLS before they went overseas. So it's definitely an experience, but, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Most of those guys played on Saturday and or Sunday, traveled from Europe to Miami, had 1 day of training with a team, and then you play on Wednesday in 90-degree heat. So there's a lot of extremes, with the weather, the travel, getting guys who have never played before together, and things kind of went by so fast that, I kind of had to soak it all in, step back, look at the bigger picture. We had only 2 training sessions together, that was it, and one was the day before game, and as we know, that's it's not really a training session. It's more, let's get through it, stretch the legs, and then, give our full effort the next day. So, I imagine that's how things will be, when the qualifiers come along, and, with the Gold Cup and a lot of friendlies this year, it's going to be a quick turnaround, only a couple days practice. It makes things difficult, but, that's why you play.
What about getting to, not to take anything away from the Sounders, but training with the best Americans, the best of the best, how does that help, kind of up your level coming back and training and getting ready to prepare with your team?
Yeah, I think it's always good. You want to push yourself, and everybody's ultimate goal is to play at the highest level. So, as you grow up, club soccer to high school to college, college to pros, the level is a little bit faster as you go up. And as soon as you get into, the guys who play in Europe or, South America, and obviously with the full national team, the speed of play is just that much faster. But I know that there's guys on our team who have either played at that level before or can do it. And it's great for, the young guys to see, a guy like myself that can play there, and I feel like I can. And I think that pushes young guys to say, okay, that goal is attainable, it's reachable. Because, if I get hurt, I know that somebody's going to step in for me on the Sounders and perform, just as well. So it's a confidence boost to the guys on the team, and it's also, that gap is slowly closing.
Obviously, Freddie Montero now gone, Jeff Park gone, Patrick Ianni now hurt. How is that going to change your role? I mean, we see you on, it says midfielder next to your name, but we've seen you play in every single position except for goalkeeper this past year. So how does your role change?
Yeah, hopefully, I think my career's kind of gone, with ebbs and flows in the position that I've played in. Some years I've played just center midfield. Some years I've played, a mix. So last year was more, I think I played most of my games, obviously, at center mid, but, was able to fill in here and there. So, kind of looking at the roster now is, there's spots that are open. Mm-hmm. And, we'll see if we want to play a 4-4-2, if we want to play a 4-2-3-1. Whatever the coaches feel that, the personnel on the team fits that style of play, then it is what it is. And I'm always open to play, anywhere. It's not like I'm going to fight to play, and throw up a big hissy fit if I'm not playing center mid. I just want to be on the field. So, like you said, losing Freddie Montero, somebody will step up. And we've seen it in the past that when guys have gotten injured, whether it's Estrada, Sammy, stepping in and performing. With Jeff Park on, obviously that was a rock in the center back. So whether we replace him or, somebody steps in that's already on the team, we'll look at that. And obviously with Pat out, we're going to have to find, somebody to step in that situation. But it's an opportunity first and foremost.
All right, well, we're excited for the upcoming season with you and the rest of the Seattle Sounders, getting ready to start on March 2nd against Montreal. And of course, keep it logged on to SoundersFC.com for more 1v1 interviews.
Me preguntaron si podría hacer un anuncio y pensé que era porque yo juego para los Seattle Sounders. No puedo, porque mi inglés no es muy bueno. That's true. Entonces me dijeron que el anuncio era de padres, niños y familias. Eso es muy importante para mí y le dije que yo hago lo que puedo hacer. No importa cuál idioma tú hablas, hay un idioma universal que nuestros niños comprenden y necesitan. Y es el amor y el cariño de los padres. Be a good parent and stay involved in your child's life.